Welcome to the very first episode of 2023's Review Advent Calendar. This is the very first entry in the series. Prepare yourself because this is a series of 24 videos of reviews of songs that you suggested on social media as well as here on the channel. So this is going to be an interesting feature and I hope you guys are here for the long haul. In this episode I'm going to talk about Lihito's Lotus and Venus, which is an amazing song. I've reviewed it recently and I've talked quite extensively about it on monthly review, but it's always a treat to re-listen to it and find another excuse to listen to it. And I'm going to thank, in this case, Haku for the suggestion. So let's get on with this review.
目覚めの満月ね太陽の森で忘れのみ頬張っていた夢の中僕は一人そこに迷子の女の子
I have to say that, first of all, this is such a classy song. The elegance that comes from the Rhodes piano that is going on in the background, and then the almost shuffle-like drums that are going on in there, they make it feel like Lihito is striding towards you, but stylishly, which is something that I do enjoy a whole lot in terms of the creating the setting for this song. This is a song about love, of course, and desire and attraction, so this is a song that works really well with this type of instrumental, and this type of instrumental is really, really stylish because it lends a lot from jazz music, but at the same time it is a bit more leaning towards acid jazz in terms of it's not a full-on pure jazz song, it is a song with elements from jazz, mixing those, of course, with a little bit of dance music on top, and it makes this song shine right from the start. At the same time, Kentito, as Lihito, is performing in such an awesome way. I love the way he's riffing and adding a little bit of vibrato to his notes, which is really, really sweet to add, and it makes the song sound much, much warmer.
What's up どうしたの変化友達になってよ無邪気な目でうなずくから照れくさくなって笑ったロテした忘れた憧れも小さなヴィーナス手を取り踊りましょう誰もいないこの森で二人突き上げ
There are a couple of things going on in these chorus. I've stopped it midway through because you need to go over those. So first we have a really stylish, danceable EDM type of instrumental here in the chorus specifically, and this is a big influence from Kan Takahiro, the composer that is a DJ on the side. So usually songs for the Hanadol franchise as well as the Vez Rock franchise end up being quite danceable and stylish while being quite mature at the same time. I do love when a good dance song is made to sound mature. I'm not a big fan of happy-go-lucky type of music, so when dance music is done with a lot of style and elegance on top, and you can feel that this is a song that has a more serious concept or a more serious approach, this is something that sounds really good and really will shine live. Honestly, I want to see this song being performed live. At the same time, we have double vocals going on in here. We have the main vocals by Kentito, of course, but in the background we have sort of modified vocals. They are really using a sort of a device to sound a bit different, or an effect to sound a bit different, that sound a bit robotic in the background. They are running parallel to his vocals, and if you pay closer attention, they are really in the far back when you are listening with headphones to this song. Then we have those shuffle drums that sound really, really amazing, but the beat changes ever so slightly to accommodate a more danceable style of song than what we were getting in the verses. And the difference is massive because while you are shuffling in a way in the verses, when you get to the chorus, it's a full-on dance, it's a full-on approach to you, it's more confident, although there was a little bit of a shy side going on in the verses. This is a full-on confident approach here in the chorus.
月明かり明日の果てなすバラの夕焼け木漏れ日のピンホール渓谷を滑ってくリバースライダー泡の
So this is a different part, and as you can tell from the very first verse to the second verse, there are some changes. Here you have sort of, it's not pizzicato, but it's sort of a pizzicato style of playing going on with the synths. You call it usually synth steps. Da, 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 da. Those are steps, they are making their entrance in a tiptoe sort of way, and it makes it sound a little bit playful, which is something that I was not expecting coming from this song, especially as the concept is quite serious and mature at the same time. But you can have seriousness and playfulness in the same place and it works.
のような柔らかな日々がずっと続くといいのにな Why not, why not どうしてなの Look at me girl
He's confident. He's really confident. Look at me, girl. So he's trying to appeal to you and he's making the best to appeal to you in this shuffle-like way. As I see it and as I hear it, of course, you will have, for example, a different approach to it. This song feels like someone is trying to make a move on you, but a respectful move on you, which is something that is done with a lot of care, and you can tell from the way that the song flows. It's not a type of all over you song in which you feel, well, my personal space was a bit violated in the middle of all of these. In this case, you notice that there are boundaries in some way and that the person is trying to approach you and try to appeal to you, and is doing it in a sort of I should say a really gentlemanly way, which is quite interesting.
泣いてちゃわからないよどうにかなりそう私だ
Note that, ooh, when he goes and rises those notes and does those flourishes. I love Kentito, and I do feel that he's still underappreciated, oddly, and while he's an amazing singer, even as a solo artist, he's an amazing singer, he's really technical, he's quite possibly one of the most experienced singers among all male seiyuu artists right now, because he was already creating music and performing music way before he was even a seiyuu, so he's quite experienced, and he shows that experience when he gets to the microphone and gets the chance to perform here with Hanadol and in the Hanadol franchise, and especially with Anthos. He does a really amazing job, and right from the start he stood out for his quality. Of course, there are very few opportunities for the members in Anthos to actually come forward and perform as themselves and without the rest of the group behind them. But this is already the second solo CD series, so this is the second chance that he gets to be on the spotlight and impress. And when he gets to the microphone, he does things that we deem impossible or really hard to achieve, and he makes those sound really simple, which is crazy. I was listening to that part for the very first time and I felt that he's doing that with so much comfort, and it's not something easy to pull off, and yet he can do it all, and he doesn't have any problem whatsoever. And of course, when we have, and most people will not pay attention to this, but when we have Zekpi, the lyricist and vocal director for this song, you usually have really tricky performances to deliver. Zekpi is known for being all about being melodic. His singers, or the singers that will be singing his songs, will have to be extremely technical and really melodic, because he really likes to push the boundaries and make the artist show more of himself or of themselves. When we get Zekbik to write lyrics for a group, especially a 2D group, you usually get songs that are really tricky on the vocal end. Of course, sometimes he ends up creating songs that are tricky on the vocal end and match up with the quality of the singer on the other side, but sometimes he demands songs that, or at least he demands performances that are on a really high level, and sometimes the singers cannot deliver on the same level, but still delivers something really impressive because Zekbi knows how to direct vocals and to make those shine. And in this case, it was not really necessary for Kentito to actually pull too much here because he already impresses by default. But in this case, a little flourish here and there, a little bit of vibrato here and there are more than enough to make you swoon a little bit. And that's exactly what Lihito is doing here. He's trying to approach you, he's trying almost like to court you, and this is a really, really interesting way to do so. This is going to be a different part within the song, so while we were getting a sort of an acid jazz down-tempo style of song, danceable, fun, but not too fast, now we get things a little bit differently. We get even more down-tempo than we were, at least apparently, and the song strips itself away from some elements and basically creates a different environment for you, the listener, to be in. It is, I should say, more intimate, more devoid of everything else that was around you up until now, and it shows the approach happening in some way. It is almost dreamlike if you get to listen to this dissonant synth going on in the background. It sounds a bit dissonant in terms of tone, but it fits really well here. Of course, a beat is going to enter, so do not worry. This is going to develop itself quite a bit. This is really going as intimate as you can get, as close as you can get in here. You can feel that the room is now quite smaller in comparison with the first room that you were up until now in this song. So there's no pretense in here, there's no need for the pretty lights and all that shebang in the background. In here, it's just Lihito and you, and it works pretty well. Notice now the riffing that is going to do on the vocal end. It's something that makes goosebumps all over me. Notice the funky guitar going on your right ear, and if you of course are listening to this song with headphones, that funky guitar was nowhere to be found up until now, but it makes its way in a jolly style of fashion, entering the scene and adding a sort of conclusion to this song. It is funky, it is fun, it is warm, and it is quite passionate in the background. It's too good to be true. I love this song. I love the whole single. And I've said on monthly review that Lihito managed to single-handedly release the best entry so far in the air quote CD series, and I still stand by it. Even after other CDs have been released or are set to be released, I believe it will be really difficult to top the quality in this CD, especially because there are a multitude of factors here that made this song perfect in my opinion. First off, we have Kentito on the vocal end. Of course, you are going to get something really good if you make it so to make him shine and at the same time make the character if he's voicing or performing as shine as well. And in this case you have Zekbi on the lyrics and vocal direction side, and you have Kan Takahiro creating the instrumental. When you have that pair working in the background for the lyrics and the composition, you usually have a danceable, stylish, and sexy song that is mature all the time. But at the same time, it is a song that requires a lot of technicality on the vocal end, and as well a lot of control, because you can't pull off a song that Zekbi created without having a lot of control on the vocal end. He requires that, and his performances are usually focused on a singer sounding really melodic, really sweet and gentle throughout. It can have a lot of He can demand a bit of power from time to time, but usually his performances are more on the technical side and more of a down-tempo sort of way to focus on the vocals instead of the instrumental. But as you can see, you can also focus on the instrumental, because the instrumental is really fun. It's really interesting because you have a danceable song that is down-tempo, you have acid jazz, but it isn't too overwhelming to the point that you are focusing too much on it. So you can divide your attention really well between both, although the performance is the thing that will catch your attention, I believe, quickly. Much quickly than the instrumental. I know that when I pressed play in here, the first thing that or at least caught my attention was the instrumental, but as soon as Kentito was singing and I noticed where his vocal direction was going from, just from a couple of seconds in, I knew that this song was going to be good, because the way that he was conducting himself in the performance, in the verses, was a good indicator that the rest of the song was going to be on an equal level of quality and following that mature, melodic style of singing that he was doing up until now. So Lotus and Venus is a beautiful song, stylish, mature. It is a song that is respectful in the way that the character is approaching you. This is the kind of song that I would recommend you to check, because it is really fun to listen to. You have clarity on the vocals, you have a really fun instrumental. And if you are not a big fan of dance music, this is the type of dance music that is manageable, that is easy to listen to. It's not overwhelming with EDM stuff and big stabs and synth craziness going on. This is a really sort of a methodical type of song that every single element in it makes a difference. You had that funky guitar playing in the background. It only appeared right before the song ended. It was as the climax of the song. It's almost as if it was the climax of the song. It was really giving you a storytelling beat for you to grab onto and understand in a really double entendre way what was going on and what happened. So I do find these quite interesting, because you do not have to say everything in the lyrics, but the song ends up actually covering or completing in some way what is going on in the lyrics by creating a setting, putting you in this setting, making everything work around you, have Lihito shuffling his way towards you and approaching you, towards courting you, for example, and have at the same time the admiration for you, the want to come closer. And I do find that quite interesting because it's not often that you get a group, especially a 2D group, to do things in this way. Usually you either have those types of sleazy, sexy songs that you get, well, you get, it's a bit cringeworthy at times and a little bit fun at others, but it's mostly cringeworthy. In this case, when you have a mature approach to that concept of allure, love, attraction, you end up with a song like this. It is really fun, it is really stylish, and I do fully recommend you to listen to it. I have to thank Haku for suggesting this song because honestly, you hit the nail with this one. This is one of my favorite songs of the year. Both songs are actually my favorites of the year. Ichi Horen, it's also a really amazing song, but Lotus and Venus it's a nice pick, and honestly, I couldn't have started with a better song for this year's edition. So thank you very much for your suggestion, Haku, and thank you very much for watching this episode up until now. There's more episodes to come, so do stick around because it's 24 episodes straight. And if you can't wait for another episode, you can also follow the link that is in this episode to the full-on playlist that has all the videos from all the editions of this feature. With all being said, I'll see you guys in the next episode.